I want to talk to you guys about something that I've been thinking about for over 10 years now, which is crazy to think about, by the way. That, actually makes me start to feel old. Anyway, that thing is a fan made sequel or spiritual successor to the Mother series. Now, I know I briefly covered something like this on my channel a while back. I made the video about the ROM hack that makes a custom story that takes place a little bit after Earthbound, but I'm not talking about something like that where it's like a fun little project that's like maybe a few hours of game time. I'm talking about like a full-on game. Let's go back to about 10 years ago when I was still in high school. I had known about Earthbound for a while because I, like probably a lot of other Mother fans, had played Smash Bros. Growing up, and Ness was a character in every Smash Bros. Game, so I was interested in where he came from. I had checked out Earthbound, and truly, as like a 15-ish year old kid, that game blew me away. I absolutely loved it. I did know about Mother/Earthbound beginnings, but I decided first to check out Mother 3 because A. Lucas, also a Smash Bros. Character, appears in Mother 3, and also presumably Mother 3 would follow up on the story of Earthbound, which I had just finished playing, so obviously I wanted to see what came next. So, after jumping through some hoops, I played that game. And it was really after this game that had such a focus on delivering an incredible story that I was hooked, and I just had to know like what else there was to look forward to. So I knew that at the time there weren't any more Mother games out, but I wasn't aware of the state of the franchise. So I researched. I looked up what any plans were for more games that would be coming out, and I was immediately disappointed upon finding the answer that the creator of the series was done with it. But that disappointment didn't last long because I also saw an article that there was a fan project in the works to deliver their own Mother 4. And this really was my first introduction to what you know today as Oddity. Now, I'm not here today to do a super in-depth dive on the full development history of Mother 4/Oddity, but in a nutshell, around 20 years ago, some guy decided he wanted to make the next entry in the Mother series, and so got to work on it. And countless times over the past 20 years, this project has changed game engines, it's changed owners, it's changed developers, and throughout all of that, the project changes scope, it changes what it wants to be. It changes and grows so much that after such a long time, progress that was made years ago suddenly means nothing to the project because the project doesn't need anything that had been worked on such a long time ago. So you eventually just hit a loop of work getting done, but the project changing to the point where that work is no longer needed, and no progress is ultimately made. As of today, it's been 6 years since we've heard anything substantial about Oddity, and many people, including myself, think that this game is never coming out. In 2022, a new Mother 4 project all of a sudden popped up. Out of nowhere, a trailer drops on YouTube showing yet another very promising looking fan game that promises to deliver an unofficial next piece of the Mother story. Now, unfortunately, I have no evidence of this, so you'll have to take me at my word here. But when this trailer dropped, they also linked to their website, which had an FAQ section, perfectly explaining, like, what this game was about, stuff about it, and how it was going to avoid falling into the same trap that Oddity did, and how they had this whole plan to get the game out. Now, unfortunately, this FAQ section no longer exists on the website, so You'll just have to believe me that it was there. Anyway, after the release of this trailer, absolute radio silence. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that, because occasionally they will share, like, some art on social media. But other than that, nothing. Now, I haven't entirely lost hope for this project yet, just because it hasn't been, like, nearly as long as Oddity has been going on. But still, I'm not keeping my hopes entirely up for this one. Now, while there aren't any more that are as widely known as these two, there are still projects out there that aim to do the same thing, that want to be a sequel to the Mother series, be an unofficial part of the series, but never end up coming out and, like, barely ever release information or anything like that. And the funny thing is, there are other Mother fan projects out there, even fan games, that are like remakes of older Mother games, that do provide development updates and progress and information to the public, and even demos. So why is it that when someone wants to make a new piece of the Mother story, or a spiritual successor to the Mother games, that it never seems to work out? I'm gonna try my best to answer this, and forgive me if I seem to ramble or my thoughts don't seem entirely collected or organized, but I do have thoughts on this. There are a lot of people out there that get inspired by games that they love to go out and try and make their own game, but they vastly underestimate just the sheer amount of work that goes into it. Most people's favorite games come from whole companies and studios that have full teams of professional writers, coders, artists, musicians, even managers and coordinators who are specifically tasked with keeping everything organized and on track. A passionate fan, or even team of fans from their homes, have nowhere near as much as that, so they already go into it with a disadvantage. I think that where most fan projects lack is in the latter half of what I described companies and studios having. If you're thinking about the skills that a fan would want to have or acquire to make a game, you would probably think of something more creative, like art, or writing, or music, or even coding. But nobody is really passionate about being the coordinator, or the manager, or the organizer. Like, that stuff isn't fun. I don't think it's fun. Who would want to make a game inspired by something that they love, but just be the guy that makes sure everybody else is doing their work? The guy that plans and schedules all of the meetings, that sets up the methods of communication, that organizes all of the assets and files for everybody. Now, I bring all of this stuff up because most fan-made sequels or spiritual successors, they're not just gonna want to rehash stuff from the old games. They're gonna want new features. They're gonna want to do things differently. But planning and figuring out all of the moving parts for any new stuff you want to add, a lot of that is going to depend on good project structure and communication and planning. And a lot of people, like, aren't too passionate about doing that kind of stuff. Then, of course, when the project planning and management is weak, that's going to impact the rest of the team. People aren't going to know what to do. And in turn, people are going to lose motivation to work on the project when they see that there's nothing getting done and there's no plans to get anything done. Now, by the way, all of this is purely speculative. I have never made a game before. I don't know how this stuff usually goes. But it's my best guess as to why a Mother fan game, or spiritual successor to the Mother series, has never been completed. In any case, even after 20 years, we still don't have one of these. And I'm gonna be honest, I really want one. And you know what people say, right? If you want something, you gotta do it yourself. Which is why I am going to be making Mother 4.